Probably going to have a bit of a drop-off, but it'd be cool if we could try and hit 300. We'll see how it goes. For now, let's go into game number 1 of this best of 5. To the top left-hand side of the map, our red Zerg player from NZ Sports is Serral. He plays against the blue Zerg. To the lower right-hand side from Splice, it's Solar. Thanks for your casting. Well, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I do really appreciate it. It does go a long way to help and keep me here, keep me casting, honestly. You know, you guys think, some people think I just say like it's like, just trying to convince you guys to sub, but it really is true. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, throughout this year, the sub count keeps growing. We've already been able to run more events because of the subscribers, such as the WardiTV weekly series, which will be continuing next in the next few days as well. We're able to run that because of our subscribers. We just get so, it just gives me that sort of safety net of being able to run events and just keep on streaming and all the rest of it. So you guys are awesome. Really do appreciate it. As we settle up into game number 1 of this Zerg versus Zerg. Solar, Serral, hatch gas pools to start us off in Ascension to Aya. Not going to be that super hyper aggressive ZvZ we're so used to seeing nowadays in Korea. And obviously both these players are playing from Korea, so this is played on the Korean server. Yeah, not the super hyper aggressive ZvZ which we used to see. And there's been a lot of aggressive 13-12 all-ins, 12 pool openings, that sort of thing. Roach-based attacks. We've actually very rarely seen ZvZ go into the later stages, and a perfect example of this was about a week ago when we casted Serral versus Sue in the grand finals of the Team Liquid map contest tournament. Best of 15 all maps played. Serral did lose, but only 7-8. He went down 8-4, but because all maps were played, he made it to 8-7 in the end. And there was such a massive mixture, and there was a lot of very fast games played on the 13-12s, the all-ins, and all of that. What's interesting is that Serral went took 7 maps off Sue, yet in 5 maps, Solar went 1-4 against Sue in the semi-finals. So I think this will be a really interesting matchup here between Serral and Solar, where we'll actually get a good chance to see how they match up against each other. A follow-on to what was actually the group stages of that Team Liquid map contest tournament, where Serral went and took down Solar 2-1. Now, obviously, that was on different maps and newer maps, and that is something to keep in mind. Let's see what they can come out with here in this best of 5 today. Again, Serral winning out the last time these guys met. Let's see if it'll be a similar story this time around. If you did miss any of that Team Liquid map contest tournament, it is up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/WardiTV, a great place to subscribe to. We aim to put out daily or at least twice daily uploads usually. Now, sometimes things fall off a little bit, or I get caught up with an event and it's difficult to get the uploads all queued up properly. But usually we go for 2 to 3 uploads per day. And right now we are currently continuing to upload the Team Liquid map contest tournament. We've just finished uploading the groups yesterday, and starting today we'll have the quarterfinals starting to upload later on tonight. Innovation Sue from that tournament will be up there, and if there's ever a matchup you should check out, it's that Innovation versus Sue series. It was really, really good. Okay then, so Ling action here as Ling Speed kicking in from both third hatchery on the way up. And so far, both players more or less mirroring each other. There's a slight drone differential just by 1. A couple more Zerglings here, a couple more Zerglings there. It'll be a bit back and forth in ZvZ. It's never exactly perfect. But in general, it is still the same idea and the exact same kind of comparison between the two players as the Evolution Chamber coming on in the natural expansion here on Ascension to Aya. Now, the Evo early here from Serral might suggest something other than a +1 missile upgrade. Might be a fast carapace or melee upgrade, perhaps. Maybe play some kind of fast link style, but nope. Going to be missile upgrade and just getting into that early here, as both players mirror each other. He'll throw it down the lair now then. The Rotron will not be far off. Obviously, Solar's Evo Chamber is a bit later on, and I was just thinking maybe with the speed of this Evo, it was potentially something a bit different. Nope, just going to be that Roach-based playstyle. And Solar setting up into the same sort of thing, but will be a few seconds behind on the +1 missile attack. 2-1 for mana apparently right now against Hearthstone. And this is indeed live. A certain name here. We're on live today. On October 1st, 2017. Bringing you guys the action. Takes Penthouse Party, number 3. Lings coming in and Solar doing a little bit of damage there. A couple of Lings going down. And what Zergling's going to be moving out onto the map to try and do a little bit more. Roach going to be finishing up here for a moment from Solar. Roach speed starts, and Solar going to be the one to throw down the Spire, opening up his tech switch into middlelist later in the game potentially, setting up in towards that, and obviously eyes on what he'll try and get done with it. So the Spire drops on down behind the mineral line. Meanwhile, a 4th hatchery from Serral on the way up to the bottom left hand side as well, continue to set up in towards that. And again, we'll see if Serral can maybe hit a time with +1 roaches and speed, etc., where just because Solar's been built into the Spire, he'll be kind of down a bit of gas, etc. At the same time, though, usually when the time, that sort of timing comes in, the muters are starting to pop. And as the muters start to pop, well, then you just start to lose those roaches anyway, because obviously the muters deal damage for free onto those roaches over time. They just need enough time to deal the damage to actually get the kills. Apologies, guys. Again, got a bit of a bad cough today. I've had it for the last few days. It's still just sticking around, so having a mute every now and then. So if I ever do suddenly fall quiet, that's just what it is. It's not that I'm just suddenly got bored of casting, just to be like, ah, fuck it, you guys can just watch and I'll go do whatever. No, it's just some illness I'm trying to come over, trying to recover from. Things down the right side. You can see what they can get up to. One Zergman already nibbling away. And a hatchery there for a little bit. Obviously a little bit of pressure here from Serral, just trying to see what's up. You'll see the roaches of his opponent. He is still very far ahead on the +2 missile attack, but a lot of this game is very soon going to be about the, a lot of this game is going to be about the mutalisks and how Serral deals with the mutalisks more than how the roach wars are going to be going. And there is the first set of muters coming out and already hunting down overlords, etc. Another overlord up here, something which Solar will go and pick off right away. Just slow things down. Somebody is jumping on top of that overlord here, working their way through this. We are just going to be seeing the Carapace upgrade as well from Serral, just invest into some extra bits and pieces that will help him out against the mutas and the roaches too. I mean, obviously because Serral, Solar goes into the muta production, Serral can kind of get away with the extra Carapace upgrade. He's not going to be opening windows or opportunities of attack from Solar. Well, Solar's actually in quite a powerful position right now. 117 army supply, 120 army supply to 80. Just going to maybe strike before +2 comes in. Lovely contaminate on the Evo chamber. Slows down the +2 of Solar even further. Serral's getting a good defensive position here, though. He's 50 army supply down. His Hydras are starting to come out. And Solar is ready to strike. And this could be a little bit awkward here in a few moments because these roaches are going to start moving up. And again, Serral's completely out of position. Almost feels as though he might even need to find himself the, the queens up here as well with some transfuses to help defend this. Because again, Solar, his army supplies just starting to skyrocket right here. Muta's coming in as well, targeting down those Hydras. I mean, +2 is just finished up, but Solar seems to just have way too many units. Just pure roaches massing up and maybe just a little bit too tech heavy from Serral. Maybe being caught just being a little bit too greedy. As we do see, okay, the mutas are cleaned out and denied for now, but there's still this roach count to get rid of. And okay, he's ahead by an upgrade or two for a moment and for a little while. He still has to find a way to actually get rid of these roaches, and right now it's not really going his way. 44 roaches on the map against 4. And obviously more in production, sure, but again, Serral looking as though he might just be in a little bit too much trouble here. And we've seen those roaches taking a little bit more damage here and there. Crossbow still being thrown up into the skies, and well, I mean, Serral's starting to hold this off. Roaches reinforcing from Solar are not here just yet. Serral will continue to push this back, and I mean, he comes out of this whiff, still an army supply deficit, but he still has the +1 Carapace advantage at least. Interesting. Interesting. A Ravager on the way up here. Yeah, what actually went wrong here for Serral then? He never really mined less for a significant amount of time. He just didn't build as much army. I guess spent time, just some macro mistakes and mechanical mistakes here. Maybe just spent a bit too time being a bit too tech heavy again. Maybe a few too many Hydras. Maybe just throwing down that Carapace upgrade as well was something which just opened the door for Solar just really getting so much more here. The question is, does Solar do enough to kind of, put himself in a position where he can still win this? Might, despite the fact he has a bit of a worse composition overall now, but it does sort of seem as though he might. Pushing into this position right now, Serral has already got roaches kind of in the middle of nowhere. Hydra's Ravager's going to add again a lot of damage onto this. The corrosive bowels help out a lot as well. It's still Solar who maintains like that 40-ish army supply advantage. He's just Solar being all over the place. Serral's not being able to collect himself together. And that'll be GG for Solo to take game 1. Just like magic. We start to the upper right hand side of the red Zerg player. It's gonna be from ENCE Esports. Give it up for Serral. He's up against the blue Zerg to the bottom left hand side of the map, representing Splice. It is Solar. Okay then, guys. Game number 2. How is this gonna go? Well, let's find out as we get going here. Hatchery first apiece again, so not the aggressive openers. Both of these guys happy to play the hatch first build. Interesting. Actually, yesterday we had the situation where we had Serral playing a lot of aggressive builds against players such as Snoot and a Laser, so he isn't afraid of using these aggressive all-in builds. He's just obviously feeling as though the macro builds are how he wants to approach this one for now. Hatch gas pool, the opening here in the early stages. Maybe hatch pool gas on the other side from Solar. I mean, it's such a minor difference. A few seconds of gas mining in it. It really is one of those things. But we can still kind of consider this just a continuation of the mirrored builds. So all eyes on the production tab, I suppose, to see where the differences will maybe start to come on through. Differences we could see are things such as, you know, continue to mine past 100 gas versus not. Continue to put free workers on gas versus not as well to maybe get Baneling nest faster. And obviously then some Zergling production coming in and being very aggressive before third hatch. Those are the main sort of things that can kind of start to really deviate from what is kind of so far been mirrored, and obviously was mirrored as well for quite a time in game number 1. They took their third hatcheries together, Baneling nest to protect, and all the rest of it. So yeah, we'll see how it continues through as we see this overall. Just moving on in towards the upper right hand side of the map. Single Zergling of Serral moves on down, and it's going to be seen moving on across, which isn't really a big deal. I mean, obviously Solar has lings of his own right now. I'm going to throw down a very early Evo chamber. Solar's actually going to bypass his Zergling speed here. So Solar going to go straight into Evo, straight into Lair. Obviously he'll give up a faster third hatch for this, but the whole point is he's aiming for a very incredibly fast +1 attack. And roach speed with it. And obviously that would be pretty crazy. Now, if Serral was to try and get aggressive against this, it's very possible he would be very successful. Let's see how many Zerglings he does start to build. Well, he adds on another drone. Obviously, doesn't really suggest that he wants to do too much else. So +1 missile attack does start. There's a Roach Roar on 2. Feeling as though this should just be for the Roach speed and the +1 attack in general here. Looking towards that over the next few moments. Again, right now, Serral just playing the standard game, the more normal way of doing this, which is obviously commit to ling speed, get the third hatch up, have the map control to yourself as well. Now, because he's got ling speed and his opponent doesn't, it does again mean Solar will be stuck just on 2 bases for quite a while until he gets enough roaches up to really push back the lings from attacking the third base and taking it down again and again. You know, those just kind of crossing by each other, and just going to be seeing the Evo chamber coming up as well as part of the wall here. Obviously, Serral himself wants to start thinking about his own roach play moving forwards. It's going to be very aggressive from Solar. He's actually already making roaches, and I don't feel as though he's going to drone up much past what he's already drawn to. 32 workers, going to stick on what is a much lower drone count than you might usually expect, but will be opening himself to some potential aggression too. As going to see these lings coming in. They're going to grab themselves a Zergling right there. A nice pick-off. As now they continue on through the center of the map once again. Then he's running around. He's going to see the third hatchery coming down. Third hatch, a bit of a fake more than anything I feel from Solar right now. I mean, he's still just building roaches. And okay, you could argue maybe he just wants these roaches to defend a bit, but he's almost definitely going to attack with them. No ling speed, so won't be any ling reinforcements. Maybe he drones behind this attack. But man, I mean, roach speed is going to be finishing up. He's going to have +1s for so long before Serral does. There's a huge timing window for this attack to come on in and to get a heck of a lot done. And here we go. First roaches starting to move across the map here. 7 more on the way. I mean, Serral's starting to make his own roaches, but remember, he does not have +1. Now, that's an issue, but only up until the point where he actually finds enough units to actually defend this. Because if he does defend, this becomes much better for him. Just as this attack comes in, it's just about to show you guys the last few moments of Keller's Serum Ring Game 1. but it did just end very quickly. Kelazur, Proxy Rax Reaper, and some great micro to bring him a victory in the first game of that series. Kelazur goes 1-0 up against Hero Marine. But this attack does begin against Serral, and Solar is the one who's pushing on forwards. And that +1 roach attack will do a lot, but remember that these roaches are kind of slow to come across the map. Even with roach speed, it's quite a long way to come, and so Defender's advantage is definitely in Serral's favor. He's also got Zerglings picking the way through the third hatch of Solar. If that goes down, obviously a transition out of this becomes much more difficult to justify. Right now, these roaches dropping very quickly though, and Solar is looking as though he might just about be breaking free, but reinforcements are popping and they are coming into play, and again, they will be here much faster. Queen's now being targeted down as well. Extra couple of roaches, but now in between the bases, these roaches are going to get picked off 1 or 2 at a time, and it's going to be tough. Drones being pulled in as well. Maybe something Serral should have considered doing a little bit early on in all of this. Serral does have now his own +1 though, so he is going to even this out in terms of upgrades. And he still does hold a 12 worker advantage. If he can just keep on defending, which he is doing so far, Serral might be able to do this. He's pushing this away, and as he pushes this away, he's going to obviously get himself into a position where he is still 12 workers ahead. Serral now starts to drone, showing us that he has indeed not really found enough with this. He's actually just going to GG out right there. He did lose his third hatch in the meantime. He's just so far. We jump into Odyssey for the third game, and it is going to be some aggression on the way out to the top left-hand side. He is going to be opening hatch first here. Our red Zerg from NC Sports is Serral. And he's going up against the blue Zerg from Splice to the bottom right. It is Solar who's opened gas pool before the Overlords. A very aggressive play from Solar, and this is what we've maybe been expecting a little bit of coming out of 2 players playing from the Korean region right now in the Zerg versus Zerg. He is just going to mine the 100 gas. This isn't going to be the kind of full-on all-in, I'm going to kill you on one base version. This is the I'm going to pressure you and attack with a lot of Zerglings, but I am going to focus mostly on throwing down a hatchery on my natural and getting that set up to follow up with after my opening. So we're going to go for the surprise factor, just going to keep the Lings in the main base initially and keep on building them, of course. And then he will be able to perhaps, well, actually he's going to move out with all of them together now, I guess. He'll maybe keep the rest at home and run across with Ling speed shortly. He's actually going to be able to dodge these overloads quite nicely. Sees this one here, so knows exactly where it is. And those Lings just going to keep on moving over to the left-hand side right now. Serral, of course, no idea what's going on. He might build a defensive spine crawler here. And he is indeed going to go for that. It's something which will help out a lot. It's one of the negatives about keeping your Lings at home, but obviously it's one of the things that, you know, if you, it's kind of a weird kind of mixture. If you reveal your Lings are revealed, boom. You know, he begins to prepare against it, but if you keep your Lings at home, you can't actually fight against a built-in spine crawler early in the game either. Single Zergling from Serral trying to pick up information, does not see those Zerglings there. And now Solar's going to move on up in towards the natural expansion, try and do a little bit more. So he's going to run on in, and already Drone's going to be in trouble. This Queen going to be in a little bit of trouble as well. Spine crawler's finished up though, pulls around on this Queen. And I guess he'll dive in towards the main base, where obviously that spine crawler will not be there to help out. Going to be taking some fights that are beneficial to him, with good surrounds on Lings and drones. Serral's going to try and desperately micro versus this. Morling's going to run up the ramp, but nice block here means that the Queen and the spine crawler will fight together. Some Lings coming in as well. The Queen will end up dropping here, but again, it's been a very good trade by Serral to slow down a lot of the production of Solar so far. As you can see, those Lings diving still in towards the middle line. And they'll go for a couple more workers killed. Currently 17 to 13 drones. Obviously, the hatch is still finished up from Serral. There's a big advantage. He is down a Queen, though. He's been about finishing his own Baneling's coming through as well. He's going to be able to really, again, just make a better trade against all of this. Now he's going to see a Baneling. All 3. Thinking about what they might want to try and do as well. Serral just not going to be baited out anyway. He doesn't want to go. He's maybe going to start getting ready to think about launching the counter-attack, although Feeling's still positioned to the left-hand side. They're going to dive in here. Well, okay, 2 bases left defensively. Good play by Serral to make the most of the situation. The Endling's going to be coming back down towards the bottom right, and, well, this is Serral's counter-attack now to try and deal some damage of his own. I mean, he's already going to get a drone, the Queen. I mean, this adds up very quickly for the player who was, you know, meant to be the aggressor in the first place. And Solar is now not going to be in that pretty of a situation moving forwards. Bays are going to try and jump in towards a position where they get good trades on the Lings. And that could push Serral into a position where he just has too much, and he does. Whoa, defense What a counter. Serral as he's 2-1 up. It's match point, and it's Abyssal Reef. Our red Zerg top left-hand side is Serral. Bottom right, our blue Zerg play from Splice is Solar. Game 4. We're going to see what's going to be happening. Meanwhile, in Kalazur Hero Marine, a bit of an interesting game. Hero Marine ahead on workers, army supplies equal, but Kalazur ahead on upgrades. Those guys are playing quite an interesting game too on Odyssey. Kalazur has a bit of a soft contain on Hero Marine to the point where he's actually going to be denying natural mineral line mining. So, again, Kalazur Hero Marine continuing. It's a 1-0 lead for Kalazur in that series. It's been an interesting one so far. Looks to continue being interesting moving forwards. So that's continuing there. Going to be keeping an eye on it, of course, and looking to see what else is happening. Am I the only person in that lobby? No, I'm not. Perfect. Sweet. Alright, well, Hatchgas Pool is going to be the play once again. Both players going back towards this macro-based style. Well, I say back towards. Serral Devon moved away from it. It was Solar that moved away and obviously tried to find different openings and chances, but in the end just didn't quite find enough. Let me see mine away here, these drones. Just keeping on working. And again, nothing too crazy right away in the super early stages. We just set on up and wait to see what the continuation will be right now. In Game 4 of the Zerg vs Zerg. So how are we all doing in the chat then? A little bit of a passive opening. Gives us a few moments to sit back and chat. What's up? How's your days going? How's your weekends been? So much StarCraft 2 this weekend, from the GSL Super Tournament through to Shoutcraft Kings yesterday, and of course, well, to take Penthouse Party number 3, which we're casting. We've been casting Friday and Saturday as well. How's your weekend been, guys? What are the matches that you guys have been enjoying the most? Has there been anything that's stuck out in particular? Maybe that GSL Super Tournament finals or some of the semis? It's been a crazy weekend for StarCraft 2. Just so much going on all the way through. Been loving it. Absolutely loving it. And just sort of sitting around here with this Overlord. Not really too much else happening. Third hatchery does come down. And just as we do have a moment or two, here Marine has just closed out game number 2 against Kalazur. Again, got very kind of... was a little bit contained, but had the general upgrade, just army supply lead. Didn't really see what happened earlier. And so here Marine is indeed able to close it out for a 1-1 scoreline in that Terran versus Terran matchup over in the lower bracket round 1. Again, you go from lower bracket round 1 to lower bracket round 2, and you are going to be able to get that increase of prize money from $175 to $300. Quite a significant increase. Pretty important singular best of 5 if you think about it. Anyways, game number 4 here is setting on up, and for now just a few Zerglings running around a bit, and we'll start to morph on in. And we continue to set up in toward this. Let's go the Zerglings over to the far right side. 3 Zerglings of Serral over here to the left. Both moving around and looking to see what else might be their next sort of few opportunities and moments here to keep on dealing damage. There's a couple of Lings of Solar running all the way right down towards the bottom right hand side. We'll see what else might happen. Zerglings coming over and a couple of Banelings as well. It's going to be seeing one more Baneling of Solar just going to start morphing in here too. So some more Zerglings to the far right. I'm just going to be seeing that Baneling of Solar just setting on up here. Those Lings looking for the surround momentarily. We are going to be seeing the Banes going off, and obviously Serral the one to really kind of initiate the aggression this time around. Another Bane coming in. Love the fact he's going to run it towards the Queen a little bit. Try and splash onto that as well. And just get that Queen kill. And another Baneling goes down here too. And well, definitely Serral kind of keeping the upper hand just because of the Baneling. Really allows him to do just a little bit more throughout here, you know. And it just allows him to kind of keep position and to force Lings away. To kind of, you know, to sculpt the fight into something which he wants it to look like. Serral overall though, 2 workers ahead. Throwing it up a little bit further. He has started +1 missile attack, and that will be his major upgrade here. His third hatchery finished up as his Solars. If they're kind of, you know, the +1 on the way, the Rotron's still building. It's one of these situations where we're probably not going to see players just cutting a 2 base economy and making Roaches an attacker with Roach Speed and +1. It's probably one of those games where we see the third base being fully saturated, and then we maybe see something like +2 base missile attack timings rather than +1 missile attack base timings. Roach Speed is kind of a bit out of sync, I guess, from Serral to be able to sync up with +1. Might not be for Solar. Obviously, he wouldn't be attacking with an upgrade lead. He is very far behind in that regard at the moment. About 30, 40, well, maybe even 4, yeah, about 40 seconds, I guess. It's a long time in StarCraft 2, 40 seconds. It's a long time for Serral to find an opening to push in, and to even just initiate the fight. I mean, even if it takes him 35 seconds, that still means the first 3 volleys of the fight are going to be Serral at an upgrade advantage, and that would be kind of a huge deal. And it's the sort of things that, sort of volleys that do still change the game, even if it is just in a minor way. Minor things can become bigger waves moving forward. Roach Speed on the way up from both. Another little interesting addition here by the players. It's going to be the setup already in towards the 4th base, so really not wasting any time. 6 minutes and 20 seconds in, and both of them 4th bases apiece. Remember, Solar here fighting to stay out of the lower bracket. Serral fighting for place in the winner bracket finals. Obviously, Solar, if he ties this up, then they're both fighting for the same thing. Solar has to win 2 in a row, though, which is what Serral has done so far. He was initially 1-0 down in this series. He did again pull it back already now to his own 2-1 advantage. I think it's coming in on either side. These Roaches started coming in as well. That single Zerglin still just running around here, and we'll get picked off by those couple of Zerglins too. All these Lings of Soul are going to go up the left-hand side as well. Just look to see where they can get to. Look to see what they can maybe deal damage as in the near future. Yeah, and just single Ling up the left. And we've seen so many Overlords spread out here as well, actually. Solar sees so much of the map. If there was to be Hydras, Ravagers, Mutas on the map, Solar would lose so many of these. But I guess he has Carapace, right? So, no, he doesn't actually. And that'd be kind of crazy if he was to lose so many of those. And when we talk about that, actually, there is the first couple of Ravagers coming out from Serral. 4 Ravagers is what it takes to hunt down an Overlord, and maybe Solar's going to have to be a bit more cautious. You can see Serral has nowhere near as much control of the map. He's much more conservative with his Overlord positioning, etc. I mean, it is a bit risky from Solar to have his Overlords all over the place. If they all get picked off, the supply blocks are something which really will hurt you moving forward. So, Solar's the one who's setting up an attack once again. He's going to break through these rocks in a moment. And again, Serral's kind of caught going into +1 Carapace while also going into the +2 missile attack. So going in towards that right now, as you do just see the Overseer coming in towards the natural expansion. And now Solar going to loop around, split up his army a little bit to try and do a little bit more. So here we go, the armies begin to split away. Upgrades are even. Serral gets his own +2 missile attack contaminated. And well, who is winning which fight? It's kind of hard to say right now. Corrosive Pile to the right-hand side. Nice split away from Solar to keep on moving through, although he does sit in the next Corrosive Pile. Serral is the one who's dropping quite heavily in supply, and he just seems to be getting cornered on in. Getting himself fully surrounded as Solar is able to keep collapsing in towards this position. And it looks as though Solar's going to push his way through towards and past the 4th base. More Roaches going down, and the Ravager falls. I mean, it really does feel as though Solar will just be able to pick off a few more drones. And again, I mean, feels as though he might just be able to shut this down, right? Roach is going to come in once more and try and just do a little bit of something else right here. I mean, Serral going to keep on trying to defend. He does now have +1 Carapace. If he survives a bit longer, he'll take a +2 attack upgrade advantage. He does have those shorter reinforcements distances. This is looking a little bit like Mech Depot did. Serral very much so looking dead, but in the end just about hanging on. But can he hang on for long enough? +2 missile attacks is really not far away, but he still needs the numbers to back those units up. 4th base is under fire. More Roaches streaming on in. Again, Solar. Unlike Mech Depot, this is a bit of a faster reinforcement system for Solar. From his bases to the 4th base of Serral here, compared to Mech Depot, it's a bit of a longer push towards that 3rd base, which we saw under attack in that game. Looks as though Solar is actually starting to run out of steam here a little bit, though, and Serral will push this back. And now again, he still has that +2 advantage. He'll have a Carapace advantage for a long time. No sign of that being started from Solar's side of things. A couple of Ravagers now morphing in as well from Serral. A couple of Zerglings going down at the front. 2 more Ravagers begin to morph. And again, this army of Serral here. He's setting up to see what direction he can go in. What a defense once again The holds throughout this series have been pretty insane. You have to be so on point to hold off like this, you know. You can't really let anything slip. You can't let your production slip for a few seconds or anything along those lines. It's just going to be seeing the Roaches and Ravagers pulling back up the left side. And more units coming up through the center here for Solar. Trying to do a little bit more. So I'll just try to stay in a concave. Stay open to the idea of Solar maybe looping back around like we did before and kind of attacking in this direction at the same time. Army supplies are even now. Serral very shortly going to be maxing out. A couple of battles coming down to get an overload kill or two. We're going to see these fights starting. Now it is definitely Serral to win this fight on the top side. You'll definitely be losing this fight down in towards the center. And so he will back away, because if he loses this fight, he loses his fourth base as well. He can come back in here and again just make it overall a fairly even trade. An interesting dynamic of back and forth here so far. Roaches and Ravagers setting up to push on through again. Roaches and Ravagers again from Serral coming in. You do see the Roach is going to loop around the top side, and well, this might be a bit of a better position for Serral to actually really take the fight here now. Has to spread himself out into this concave properly. The corrosive bars are good on each side here. It's fairly even so far. Serral's going to make his way through the Ravagers of his opponent a little bit faster though, and that means he still has his own bars to put into play, and the damage output as well. Serral's going to take this fight, and now he can push on forwards, and let's look to see what else he could do. So Roaches and Ravagers may be able to bring this through to victory now. Serral takes a significant supply lead. But we're on the way up from Solar. Contaminate on the Roach Roar and going to deny Tunnel and Claws. I love that from Serral. Just the idea of slowing down that upgrade. The idea of slowing down something which could possibly be an issue for him when it comes up and could cause some chaos. He's just going to slow it down and give himself a few extra seconds where he doesn't have to worry about it. Well, here we go. He can focus fully on this attack at the front right now. Crossbar's already going to be forcing Solar away. The Roach count is fairly even, but the Ravager count is definitely in Serral's favor by a huge margin. Those Crossbars will do a lot, and you can see Serral trying to, well, Solar trying to sort of step forwards, but Serral just has too much. GG from Solar, and Serral goes to the winner bracket finals. A 3-1 victory here for him.